What is it about Luke that you like so much throughout this process? You guys obviously were in on the ground with a young man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long process with him, obviously being a early commit and everything. But the first thing that sticks out to me is his toughness. He's a guy that his dad was a linebacker in college. He kind of grew up with that mentality, and he stuck it out in his time at BC. I mean, he had a really good quarterback ahead of him, so he played some time at receiver, some time at safety, and then when it was his time to go, he maximized that opportunity. But he's got phenomenal arm talent, escapability, the ability to extend plays and make plays both inside the pocket and outside the pocket. So I'm really excited to get him here and start to get my hands on him.
What was it about that camp experience with him way back when that convinced you guys that he was a dude for you before you really had much high school?
Yeah, I mean, from the physical perspective, the arm talent was so evident at such a young age. The other piece of it too was just the intensity and the purpose that he would go through the camp and go through the reps. He was coachable, all traits that you want to see in young players, and I think it's something that showed up in his game too, as we've seen his growth already show up in his high school game. So
one of the first things that stood out to me about you mentioned Luke's toughness, going back to a state championship game last year in Japan, things were not going well for them on offense the first half. He was under consistent pressure. What stood out to you about him when things were not going well?
He just stays the course. He keeps chipping away. Even this year, I mean, they had some young guys surrounding him at the skill positions, a couple older guys that contributed, but I mean, just continuing to stay positive with those guys and be a leader. I mean, I think one of the great traits of really any player, but especially at quarterback, is can you make the teammate, can you make the guys around you better? And I think that Luke has done that throughout his career. I mean, he's the epitome of a team guy. You go back and look at his freshman, sophomore years, mixing in, playing safety, playing slot receiver, and waiting his turn. And then when he got his turn, like I said earlier, I mean, he maximized it and made people around him better.
How much of an advantage is it to get an early commitment from a quarterback, not only in terms of getting to know the other recruits, helping you recruit, but knowing you guys and knowing your program, so when he comes here and spring practice rolls in, he's comfortable with what's going on?
Sure. I mean, I think just the early, you're asking about early enrollment, right?
Well, both. Okay. Yeah, getting him to commit early and then having the early enrollment.
I mean, one, the relationship building side of it. I mean, he gets to be around those other guys and get a sense of what they're about. And I think with quarterback, I mean, it's a good gauge, it's a good temperature of what your program is. And I mean, he's an outstanding face to have for that class. I mean, just you guys have seen it, the quotes that he's put out there about us. And I give a lot of credit to him because he committed to us at a time where a lot of people didn't see the vision. And he stuck with it and believed in what our process was going to be. And I mean, pretty excited to have him. But then the other piece of it too, I mean, him getting into school early, throw football aside, we can all remember being 17, 18, 19 years old, stepping on a college campus for the first time. I think it's huge for those guys to get in early and just get adapted to life on their own. Waking up on your own schedule, building a routine, and then the football side of it, I mean, that becomes the easy part of it.
Obviously, the physical tools stand out when you watch his film. He's got the size, got the arm, got the athletic ability, can make plays with his feet. But what did you guys learn about him as a person and leader through this recruiting process, where he's been very vocal, trying to lead this class? And obviously, then Georgia comes in, it's where everybody thinks with the tweet, and you know he's very committed. Just what did you learn about him as a person as far as leadership goes?
I mean, I couldn't think of a better ambassador for the things that we stand for, the things that we believe in. He is a relationship-driven individual. I mean, we saw him out with other prospects that live quite a ways away from him, making stops and seeing guys and celebrating their commitments with them. And I think just the care that he has for other people, not just us as coaches or the university or the program, and honoring his pledge to us, but just his future teammates, guys that he's met along this process. I mean, he's truly a relationship-driven individual, and I mean, that's what this is about. It's about people.
Do you think that the way he is handling himself through his recruitment, do you think that brings credibility for him when he steps on campus with some of his older teammates?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's still going to be a young pup, and he's going to come in and he's going to do it. But he's got some of that it factor to him, the way he carries himself, some of that swagger, if you will. So it'll be fun to see him get in the mix.
You mentioned the arm talent, athleticism, but I mean, I think one thing you look at, he has put up some pretty good rushing numbers. I mean, maybe it's not Lamar Jackson, but still having that attribute. I mean, is that something you kind of have to have these days? A little bit of that, just to open up your playbook, and then what can he bring in that aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is he's going to be able to extend plays. He's going to be able to keep you alive. So whether that's him as a true runner or him moving to be able to get the ball out to receivers, running backs, tight ends, whoever, still, he's going to give you a chance to have a positive play still. And then when things break down, I mean, he's not afraid to get in the mix a little bit. I'm sure he'll learn at the college level, or he will learn at the college level. You might have to get what you can and get down at times, but it's going to be really fun to coach him. I'm excited. He's competitive. He's tough. It's going to be a fun ride.
Be able to communicate with him all the stuff that happened with obviously Jordan at the end of the season, and then even Tate. You know, be able to communicate with him and constantly what was going on with the program and the quarterback position?
Sure. I mean, I think the way that we recruit, especially at that position, there's an extreme level of transparency. He's also been around here so much where a lot of the guys that are on the roster now know him and are comfortable around him. So, I mean, it's not just going to be a seamless transition when he gets here, but he's been around enough to kind of have some of the ins and outs of what's going on and everything, and it's going to be fun to have him here.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.